beautiful people, welcome to the first video of this Flutter tutorial series, and today I'm going to walk you through how to set up Flutter on a Windows PC. I do not have a Mac, so I cannot show you that, but I think it's going to be a similar process. Anyway, head out to flutter.dev, okay, or you can just Google Flutter and you should find that link. Now in this page you can hit get started or get started down here, whichever. And then what you need to do next is to pick the operating system that you're running on. And like I said, I am going to be doing this on a Windows PC. And then these are some of the requirements you need to meet. Now, the only thing you should consider here if you're running a Windows 10 PC is just Git for Windows. Okay, for this you should have that if you are already running Windows 10. Otherwise, if you're running a lower version, you should probably check out this. But what we need here is to click on this Flutter_Windows stable build. So once you click on this, it's going to download. I've already downloaded that, so I wouldn't be doing that again. The next other required software is going to be Android Studio. Again, you can head on to developer.android.com/Android Studio, or you can just Google Android Studio. Once you are here, click on download Android Studio, read the terms, and then all you have to do here is check this. Okay, check this and then click on download. Again, I have downloaded this already, so I wouldn't be doing that. Then remember Git I talked about, so you can use that link right here, okay, or you can just Google Git, or you can search git-scm.com. Now once you're here, you're going to see this right here, so download for Windows because I am in Windows. If you're on Mac, it will show for Mac. The last thing I'll need here is VS Code. Now VS Code is my choice of editor, so that's what I'll be using. You can totally use Android Studio without using this, but I will be using this along the way. I think it's a cool editor and it has a lot of features. So all you have to do is download for Windows again, and that should be done. Now once you have all of that downloaded here, we are going to go ahead and then start setting up everything. Now one of the first things I would like to set up is Flutter. Okay, and I don't know about other people, but I have a specific place where I put in Flutter, and this has saved me a lot of issues and a lot of problems I have faced along the line for some time, because some of the recommended directories, after a while I just start getting issues. So this has saved me a lot of problems, so I'm sharing this with you. So with Flutter downloaded, you need an application like WinZip or WinRAR to extract this. And the way I would do this is you can open up another file explorer simply by going to your file explorer here, right click, and then hit File Explorer, or you can press the keyboard shortcut, the Windows key and E for elephant, and that should open up another file explorer for you. The next thing I want you to take notice is we are going to click on this PC to reveal our drives here. Go to your Windows drive right here, and then go to users, and then your name that is going to be here. So as you can see, this is Happy Cat. So whatever name you use to log on to your PC, you should find that name here. Open that up, and then we are looking for app data. Now if you cannot find app data and you cannot see some of these grayed out folders, then it simply means you don't have hidden files enabled, and for what we're about to do, we need it. So go on to your view tab, and then what you have to do is make sure you check this option. So if I check it, you can see all of those get hidden. So make sure you check this option, and also make sure you check this file name extension. This helps us to see what type of files that we have, and this will come a long way to help us. So make sure you have that checked, and you should see app data. Double click on that and open up local. So this is what we need. We are going to dump our Flutter in here, and this has been the location that works for me the most. It might seem long, but trust me, this works 100%. So go ahead and double click on Flutter, close whatever opens, and then what you can simply do is just drag this into that directory, so into our local. So I'm going to release this, and then we are going to let this extract. This shouldn't take much time. All right, so once this is done, we can go ahead and then close WinRAR. And right now we have Flutter in here, so go ahead and then open up Flutter, and then we can test this to see if we actually have Flutter working for now. So within Flutter, locate flutter underscore console dot bat. Okay, so we are seeing this dot bat because we have the extensions enabled. So simply double click on that, and this should open up this window to tell us that we have Flutter right here. So we can type in Flutter -- version and then hit enter, and this should tell us the version of Flutter that we currently have, what we've downloaded. And as you can see, we have 2.2.3, and that's the stable channel. Okay, so we can close this. The next step here is we are going to add Flutter to our path environment, and the reason is that if you do not do this, you cannot access Flutter globally. And you know, we are not going to work with Flutter directly through this. We are going to use our IDEs. So to be able to get Flutter to work and to get our IDEs to respond, we have to add them to our path so that it can read it globally. So we can test this to see before we actually do that, so that you get what I mean. So open up CMD so that we can test, just so you see that Flutter isn't recognized globally. So Windows key, CMD, and then let's type in Flutter, the same command, -- version. And you notice how it says Flutter is not recognized. Okay, so that's not a problem. If you ever get this, this is just because you didn't add Flutter to your path environment. So close CMD now. And the way we would simply do that is, since we are already here, okay, so remember drive C, users, your name, app data, local, okay, Flutter. So inside Flutter, we want to open up the bin folder. So just open this up. You don't do anything here. Okay, now go to the address bar on top here, click in there, and then copy that. So Control C, or you could also right click and just hit copy. Okay, hope you've got that. Now the next thing we need to do is go and add this to our path. So Windows key, and then we can type env. So this will show edit the system environment variables. Click on that, and then we are going to click on environment variables here, so you click on that also. In this window, we need to click on path and then click on edit. Okay, once you are here, click on new, and then paste the path you copied right there, as you can see. So drive C, users, happy cat, so yours will be your name, app data. Remember, if you cannot find app data, make sure you go to the view tab and then enable hidden items, then local, then Flutter, then the bin folder we opened. Okay, click on OK. Okay. Now let's open up CMD again. So Windows key, CMD, and then let's type Flutter -- version, and then hit enter. And now you see it recognizes Flutter. Okay, so as it stands right now, we have set up Flutter to be recognized globally on our PCs. So we can go ahead and then close this, and then we can pretty much close this also. Now the next step is to install Android Studio. So remember, after downloading Android Studio, make sure you install Android Studio. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. So next, make sure you have Android virtual device selected, and this is going to be the specified location is going to install that. If you want to change it, you can, but I'll leave it as default. This is going to run on my SSD, which will make everything a lot faster. So just install. This shouldn't take long. Now that this is completed, just click next and then click Start Android Studio. and it is running in the background here. So if your Android Studio opens up like this, this is expected. Now, once you have this opened, we have to download and install the Flutter and Dart plugins into Android Studio, because now we cannot actually start a Flutter project. This will just start a regular Android project. So what you want to do is come to Configure, go to Plugins. Now in Marketplace, so make sure you're in Marketplace right here. So in here, you can search for Dart or Flutter. So Flutter, and then hit install. It would prompt you that Flutter requires Dart, so click on install also. And just give it some time. Once this is done, just restart the IDE, restart. And now once it restarts, you would see that we have this create new Flutter project here. So this shows that the Flutter plugins are now installed. The next step here is to configure our Android emulator. Okay, so go to Configure again, go to AVD Manager. Now if it's your first time, this is where you're going to see, so click on Create Virtual Device. Now before I go on to do this, I must say, if you do not have virtualization enabled within your PC, this is something you do in the BIOS. Okay, you can look up a video on that. It's nothing big. This wouldn't work. Okay, it requires that virtualization is enabled within your PC before you can go through this step. So once you have that enabled, so of course we are going to create for a phone, and here you can select the phone that you want. Okay, I like to use large screen phones, so I'm going to go with the Pixel 4 XL or just Pixel XL. I think I'll go with this, cannot decide. Now these having the Play Store icon simply means that they have Play Store and you can actually access Play Store just like you would on an actual device. So I'll go with this, just click on next. So here it is telling me that I need to download a system image to continue. So this is like the operating system. Now this happens sometimes where you install Android Studio and it doesn't download it in addition for you. Your step may require you to download that, and if you get that step due, you would simply skip the step I would be going. When you get here, you would notice that you already have that there. So I'm going to go ahead and install this and then resume the video once I am done. Alright guys, so once that is done, if you run into my similar problem, you just go through that. If not, you wouldn't have that, so I'll just click on finish. So you should have something like this if you didn't experience mine. So with that, I'll just click on next. And now the next thing you want to do here is going to scroll down a bit. So emulated performance. Okay, what you want to do is select this and then select hardware. Okay, this is going to use the hardware of your PC to accelerate the performance of the Android emulator. If you leave it on auto, it might use the software part, which ends up making it very laggy. And then what's left is just personal customization. So if I click on show advanced settings here, what I can do here, and I recommend you try and do, is the internal storage. So I'm going to switch this to gigabytes, and I'm going to make this 3 gigabytes because from some experiences, when you leave it at 800, you do a few projects and the phone is full, and so you have to delete a few. So this is going to help to get rid of that. And once I'm done with this, I'll click on finish. Okay, and just before I run this, I'm actually going to minimize this. Okay, and then minimize this also. And let's move on with the other installations also. So the next thing I'll do is go ahead and install VS Code. So I'm going to open up this, accept the license agreement, make sure you read them, and then location, next, and then make sure you add this to the path, else we would have to go ahead and then do what we did with Flutter. So I'm going to register all of these. Don't need a desktop shortcut, so click on next and then install. All right, so once this is done, you can launch Visual Studio Code, and this is Visual Studio Code with the welcome screen right here. What we want to do here is to simply click on this icon here, the extensions, okay, and then in here we want to search Flutter. So let me stretch this out and let me actually close this. So once you search in Flutter, click on install. So this is the Flutter extension for VS Code. This is going to help us to be able to run Flutter and then do all the necessary things we need for running Flutter within VS Code. This is the only extension we are going to install here for now, and this also installs Dart. So if you search for Dart, you should see that that is already installed. So what I'll do here is I'm just going to right click and then pin this to the taskbar. This is not necessary, but I just want to have this on the fly on top here. So I would close this and then I would go ahead and install Git. So I'm going to double click. And this is also quite simple, just next, next, next. I don't like Vim, so I'm going to go ahead and install VS Code. So use Visual Studio Code. And then, so make sure you install VS Code before you do this step if you want to use VS Code. Next, 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 next. I'm getting tired. And this shouldn't take much time also. So once this is done, we can uncheck this. We don't want to read anything. We can click on finish. Okay, so now we are done with installing all the programs. Let's go ahead and do a few more configurations and then we are ready to roll. So I'm going to close this window. I'm going to leave this open for a particular reason. I'll show you that. But then I'll go back here and then I'm going to go ahead and then run this. So remember we created this, so I can click on play right here and that should start the AVD. And then I can go ahead and close this. And again, I'm going to pin my Android Studio right on top here. So pin to taskbar and I can close this. I don't need Android Studio now. So we can leave our emulator getting started. Now, before we can actually fully finish configuring Flutter, we need to accept the licenses. So if you scroll down somewhere here, if I can find it. So if you scroll down to this point where you have Flutter Doctor -- Android - licenses, we need to copy this, or you could also use the copy button right here. So you can copy this code, and what we'll do is we can open CMD and then just paste this in there and then hit enter. Make sure throughout this process you are still connected to the internet. Alright, so if you experience this problem, okay, which I've had before, so should I say it's a good thing this happened? If you experience this problem and you don't know what to do, there's actually a simple fix to this, okay? So let's close this. Let's open up Android Studio again. And then what we want to do here is we will go to configure again. We will go to SDK manager. And then we go to SDK tools. And then make sure you check Android SDK command line tools, okay, this option. And while we are at it, let's also enable Google USB driver. Hit apply, confirm. This would do some short download, just 8.3 megabytes, so this shouldn't take long. And then we have a 99.1 megabyte also, so this shouldn't also take long. So when all that is done, simply hit finish, and then we can click on OK. And we don't need this again, so I would close this, open up CMD again, and then we're going to paste that back again. So Flutter Doctor -- Android - licenses. Let's run this again. And now you see we've solved that problem. Okay, so what you want to do next is just accept the licenses. So Y, enter, Y, enter. So do well to read all of this. I've already done that, so I know exactly what they're saying. So Y, enter, Y, enter, Y for yes to enter. So keep doing that till all of that being accepted. Okay, that's that. So now we can run Flutter Doctor -v verbose. This will give us a better breakdown of all the things we have done. So right now, if you followed all the steps, you should see that we have everything here installed. So you can see Flutter, we have the Android, we have Chrome, we have Android Studio well installed, we have VS Code because that's what we are going to use, and we have our connected devices. Okay, so because I have the Android emulator running, it checks that. If you do not have the Android emulator running, it would actually give you a warning that it isn't running, but that's not a problem, so you don't worry about that. So we can go ahead and then close this. And as a matter of fact, I'll just minimize this too. So what we are going to do is, now not everybody might want to use VS Code. So what I would do is simply open up Android Studio, assuming that is the default for everybody. And what we'll do next is we're going to create a Flutter project. And then this is where the path to our SDK is. So we'll click on next. And then the project name. So your project name should not have spaces. Okay, so you cannot say something like my first app. You are going to have issues with a name like this. Okay, so what you want to do is just make sure you have an underscore. So all I'm going to just say here is test app. So something like this. Okay, then everything here is perfect for me. So make sure platforms, Android, iOS, if you plan to build for them. If you plan to build for the web, these are other things you need to activate. So I don't have Mac, so this isn't working. And then all you have to do is click on finish. And then this is going to go ahead and set up everything for you. So now that we have this running, it's pretty much almost done. So all you have to do to get this to work is to simply click on this. So note that because we have the Android emulator running, we are able to detect it here. This is the device we are going to be running it on. You can also run this on your browser, okay, if you want it, but we are going to use the emulator here. Now we are just going to hit this play button right here. Now for the first run, this can take some time, so you just have to be patient with it until it's done. Alright guys, so once that is done, this is what you're going to see, and this clearly shows that you have everything working. We can tap on that and you can see this is working. So I'm going to end this like so, and I'm going to show you if you are going to follow my route. You choose not to use Android Studio. So I'm going to go ahead, go to File, and then Close Project, and then close this. Now opening up VS Code, I'm pretty much just going to do the same thing just to show you if you choose to use VS Code. So to create a project in VS Code, all you have to do is click on this gear icon here, go to Command Palette, so take note of the shortcut Ctrl-Shift-P, and then New Application. If you are not seeing that, just type in Flutter, and then you should see New Application Project. Click on that, and then this is asking us to select the folder that we want to create a project in. So I'm going to use the same folder that we demonstrated the Android Studio version. So that is in Drive C for me. Users, name, so your name, and then Studio Project. So click on that, click on this, and then you can see, so this is what I was talking about, the naming convention. So try to name your apps like this. So this is going to be called test_app. I already deleted the previous one, and then you just hit enter. So let me close the welcome screen, and this is going to go ahead and then set up Flutter for you. So you can see everything has been set up right here. So this is the main.dat file. We'll talk about this in a later video. Now, how do you run your Flutter app? Make sure that you have the main.dat selected. If you are in any of these, you wouldn't know how to actually run this. So make sure you have main.dat selected, which is usually in the lib, main.dat, and you would have this play button right here. Okay, the simplest way is to have this play button, and you get this because we installed what? The Flutter extension. So we click on play, and then I'm going to start this without debugging, and then just give it some time, and then this would also run. So as you can see, this is also done, and we can click in here and you can see we have everything running. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this video tutorial on how to set up Flutter. In case you have any issues or any problems, you can rewatch the video. If that's still not helping you, you can leave a comment below and I'll be sure to check it out and then help you out. So this has been Happy Cat, and please, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.